Hello, I'm Imani Mulaya, the Media Production Specialist at the Media Production Center, here at the School of Communication at American University. Today I'm going to be talking to you about file management for Premiere Pro. And just to let you know, these tips also work with other non-linear editing software systems. On any platform, whether it's PC or Mac, and any version old or new, these are just good habits to start right now. Habit number one, most important, get an external hard drive. I use this thing almost every day. Yeah, the external hard drive is important. Not only is it a place to store stuff, but you need a good hard drive that can communicate these video files to the computer and to the software. Video files are huge, and the data that moves them is also pretty intense. So you need a strong hard drive to actually communicate that data to the computer. So things like a thumb drive and SD card just don't work. And sometimes even a hard drive in your computer because you're running so many different apps at once. So get yourself a nice, fast external hard drive. And what I mean by fast is revolutions per minute. And sometimes you listen to your hard drive, you can hear it spinning. That's because there's a disk in there. So you want it to spin as fast as possible. So the revolutions per minute you're looking for is 7,200 RPMs. And if you look in the description of the hard drive, you'll see it whether you buy it online or in the store. Sometimes you can see it on the box. It'll say 7,200 RPMs. They have slower hard drives, but we'll get to that later. Also, they have solid-state hard drives. This is the newest thing right now, where it's nothing moving. It sends the data directly to the computer, and it's quiet because there are no moving parts. The only downside is a little bit more expensive, but that's the wave of the future, and it's definitely a good investment. So I was talking about the other hard drives, the ones that may not be so fast. And I have one right here. This is my backup drive. It's not 7,200 RPMs, which makes it a little bit cheaper, but I can copy my project to that drive either when I'm done or while I'm working on it, so I have a backup. In case my work drive crashes, which it will, it's just like a car, eventually it'll stop working. But I have everything backed up, so when I get a new work drive, I can just copy it over and work off of my work drive. I don't like working off my backup drive because it's not made for that. So let's see, a few other things you need to know about. It's a connection. This is probably everybody knows this, but I like using USB 3. That's the speed that you want. That usually comes with the faster hard drives. Either that or like Thunderbolt cable, Thunderbolt drive. And they also have network drives, but I like USB because it's been around forever and it's probably going to be around for a while too. And you have your backup drive and also the size of the drive. The size is not too crucial, but you should allot enough space for the projects that you're working on. Because especially dealing with 4K now, we're getting the files that are in the tens, the hundreds of thousands of gigabytes. So you want high size hard drives in the terabytes if you can. So I'll let you be the judge of that, and then as you grow in your career, you're going to get bigger and bigger drives and have more and more storage depending on what you're working on. So now we have all those drives. Let's go to our computer. And I have my drive plugged up and you can see it. It's called My Drive. I named it that. You can name it whatever you want. Just keep the name, whatever you keep it as. And I have, if you see this, my SD card. I have the SD card for my camera. I use the Sony Z150 since most people are using that on campus. So I took some footage, I put it on the card, and put it in the computer. So now I have my drive and the SD card. Great. So I want to get the contents from the SD card to my drive first, before I open Premiere. If I do it after I open Premiere, it's going to be a headache. So I want to get the video footage off of the card onto the drive. Before I do that, I want to create some type of structure. First in my head, and then I'll try to map it out on the hard drive. Let's open up the drive. I'll bring it over here. So this is my drive. I already have some folders in here. But here are all my project folders. So for this project, I'm going to make a new folder. Let's call it, let's see, new project. No, I'm not going to do that. That's a bad one. Let's call it Imani's project. Yeah, that's my project. And that's my project folder. So this is great because in there, I can create a structure. Everything's going to go in Imani's project folder. But how do I organize it? Well, you can do it in several different ways. Come up with something that's good for you. I'm going to tell you a real simple way to do it. First, I'm going to make a folder called video. That's where I'm going to put all my video. So new folder. Video. That's great, but I'm thinking ahead. I know I'm going to have music. I know I'm going to have sound effects. I may do some voiceovers too. So I'm going to need an audio folder too. So let me do that right now. Like I said, we're creating a structure. Audio. And I'm going to have some cool graphics. I'm going to have names flying around. Guess what? I'm going to make a graphics folder. And that's all I need for now. You can get as deep or as complicated as you want. Don't get too deep so that you have so many folders that it's hard to find your own stuff. but that's a basic structure. We're going to use this structure and we're going to stick to it. Since I don't have audio or graphics, I have a video folder and I have videos on my SD card. Let's go into SD card and see what that looks like. So here's my SD card. It's called Untitled. Depending on what camera you use, it's going to name it differently. But inside is the important part. You'll see a folder called Private, and then like I said, this is different for every camera. But if you go inside, you'll start seeing folders. And you'll start seeing more folders. And you'll start seeing more folders and more folders and more files. And it gets complicated. The video files are in here, but if you don't know what you're looking at yet, don't get bogged down. Don't start digging. The files are in there. We're going to let Premiere do all the work for us. Since we know the files are in there, we're just going to copy everything. That's it. Simple as that. I'll close it and open it back up so you see we're starting at the beginning. Only thing in there is private. Sometimes you'll see other stuff in there depending on the camera you're using. I grab everything. I want to get everything in there, and I'm going to put it in my video folder because that's where the videos go. And let it copy. So now the videos are going in the video folder. Just a tip, if you have more than one, let's say card, you may want to make a new folder called card number 1 and card number 2 and drop the private folder or whatever's in there. Or if you have multiple cameras, camera number 1, camera number 2. That keeps it separated so you don't have a whole bunch of private or whatever is in there. So that looks organized and you can import them nice and clean. But since I only have one camera, one card, I'm just going to put everything into the video folder. So that's great, we have our videos. Now we're almost there, let's fire Premiere. And Premiere Pro has an interesting way of opening up files and then saving them, so we're going to do that first. We're going to save everything where it needs to be. So here's the first menu, the first window you're going to see. And that pops up for you to create a new project. And that's what we want to do. Let's create a new project. Here's the important part. In the location, we created a folder, let's use it. In the location, I'm going to hit the Browse button, and I'm going to find my location, and it's called, it's in my drive, that's the name of my drive, and my folder is called Imani's Project. Click on that. I can make a new folder, like a projects file folder, but I don't have to do this. It's not that complex for this project. So I'm just going to click on Imani's Project, and I'm going to put the project inside of there. So choose, yep, and you can see location, Imani's Project, and the name of it is Imani's Project. That's the name of my project. And okay, now we're opened up. So what exactly happened? Let's go back to Finder. Oh, there we go. Imani's Project. I still have my audio folder and my graphics folder and my video folder, but it created my project file inside of the folder. Everything's in one place, which is great, which is what I want. Cool, let's keep it moving. So now let's get the footage into Premiere. There are a couple ways you can do it. The traditional way with any software is you click File and Import, and you can import that way. Premiere has a nice option. There's a media browser where you can click on that and you can actually find the files. And last but not least, you can stay in this project panel right here and you can drag and drop. I like that. It's really easy for me. So what I'm going to do, let me close down the SD card. Everything's on the hard drive. So I'm done with the SD card. I'm working off of the hard drive and hard drive only. I have my videos right here. And there we go, and they have all these folder structures. Once again, I'll let Premiere do the work for me. So I'm just going to grab the whole video folder and grab it, drag it, and drop it right into Premiere. And let it work. Aha, what happened? Let's check this out. We have an error message popped up. And this is important because I dragged everything in there, but Premiere can't handle everything. Like we saw in the folder structure, there's a bunch of different files. A lot of the stuff Premiere doesn't need and Premiere doesn't want. Some other software may need it, let's say like a Final Cut or something like that, but Premiere itself is like, no, I'm done with this. So okay, what do you need? Oh, you know what you need? You don't need this? Okay, you don't need this. Let's see what you brought in then. Okay, so Premiere's telling us, okay, this is what I wanted. So we got rid of the stuff we don't need and we have the stuff that we want. I'm going to change some stuff in this panel. I'm going to change this view because I don't like these big icons. I make them small. That's a lot better for me. So let's see what we got. We open up video. We're still getting some of these folders. And if I open up clip, eventually I'll find the video. It's trying to follow the structure on your hard drive, but eventually the only thing that's going to pop up are the video files. So let's double check. You know they're videos because it has a nice icon on the left, the green and the purple, symbolizing audio and video. If I double click on that, then bam, there I go. There's my footage. I'm down in the equipment room. Tom's drinking coffee. So that's good. So I have my footage. Success. Everything's in there. And now what do we do with it? We want to create a sequence. It's a couple ways to create a sequence, but it's a couple ways to mess one up too, because you may not know the settings you need depending on the footage you have or what you want to export to. The safest bet is to take the file itself and use it as a template for the sequence. And the way to do that is to go down here to this little new item button. It looks like a piece of paper down here by the trash can. The new item button is like a new sequence. You can create other stuff like text and shapes, but we're creating a new sequence. And the shortcut to do it is to grab your video, drag, and drop it onto the new item button. And voila, it makes a new sequence with all the proper settings. If you look, you can see all the audios right there, all the videos there. And all the settings are matched to your video file, which is great. So you don't have to do any type of changes in your sequences unless you're requested to do so. But this is where we're starting at. And I have my video. So that's good. And if you look over here in the project panel, you'll see it says the name of the file was clip0001. So the sequence that I made based the file that I based the sequence on, the sequence took the same name. So it's clip0001. That's the name of the sequence. So we have everything where we want it. The sequence, the files, and we can see it. And everything's still in the hard drive. Nothing's changed. Great. But what if I do want to make changes? What if I don't like these names? What if I want to name it sequence 1? What if I want to name it clip 1? Things like that. Or clip Tom. You can do that, but in Premiere only. Don't do that in your file on your hard drive. The way this works is Premiere has everything locked down. It knows where everything is. Now you can start changing stuff in Premiere. Everything's in place. As long as you don't move anything off your hard drive, you can start changing things in Premiere. So let's do that. I'm going to move some stuff around. Let's see. I don't like all this other stuff. So I'm just going to grab my video files and I'm just going to drag them out of here. Okay, I don't want all these other stuff. Let me get rid of this and this and this. You're like, oh no, what are you doing? You're changing some stuff up. It's fine. Trust me. It'll be fine. So I got rid of that. Let me change this to sequence 1. Let me change this to, what clip is this? Yeah, that's Tom coffee. Tom is drinking coffee. So there you go. I changed some stuff in there. So you're thinking maybe I changed it in the hard drive, right? Nope. That's not how it works. Everything, let's go back to the hard drive. Everything is still the same. Video is still there. The file structure is still there. Even if I know where I'm looking now, I may be even be able to find the original clips. The clips are still here. Yeah, and none of the names have changed. That's the way Premiere works. You can change things in Premiere, but not in your hard drive, which is important because we're going to leave everything in the hard drive. Now it's time to back it up. Let's go back to Premiere and save. Save always. Save often. Save every chance you get. And when it's time to back up the project, I'm going to minimize this. I want to copy my entire folder, Imani's project, wherever it is, whether it's my backup hard drive, whether it's you can save your backup onto your computer because you're not working off of it, so it's not getting bogged down by the apps. You can save it on in the Media Production Center. We have media drives where you can save it on. Just be careful because other students have access to the media drive and you may not always gain access to the same room every time. But at least you have a backup somewhere. You can back it up online. That way you have 2 copies. But copy everything as is. All the names, all the folders, everything. Because once you start changing things, I'll show you what happens when you start changing things. So let's say Imani's project. I'm going to copy to a drive, but I'm going to call it something else. Let's call it Imani's project version 2. Okay. So I just copied it somewhere or even on my own hard drive. You know, I want to change the name. So let's go in Premiere and see what happens. Okay, Premiere, just change it. I hope you change it too. Oh no, what's going on? I know some people have seen the screen. What happened is the files were somewhere and now Premiere's like, what happened? What happened? I don't see the files anymore. Because if you look here, it's looking for the files in Imani's project. It's looking for all the files in Imani's project. Where did this go? Where did that go? Where did that go? Imani's project. Where's Imani's project? It's gone because I changed the name to Imani's project V2. So now it doesn't know where to look. And it's like, oh no, now I gotta find everything, or I have to rename everything, or I have to re-import, I have to re-edit it. So that's when it becomes a problem. That's when you have to almost start from scratch. So that's why it's important to name everything first, create a file structure first, and stick to it when you move between system to system, hard drive to hard drive, and keep it that way. And you may also see this if you have files on you import it from the SD card, from the desktop, from a different hard drive, and then you make the project, and then you take it somewhere else, and everything's gone. That's because everything's not in one folder. So do that first. Put everything in one folder first, and then start editing, and then when you're done, make your copies, but just keep all the names the same. Okay, I'm going to close this because it's making me mad. Oh. So that's done. I'm actually going to rename this, name it the way it was, and see if that fixed the problem. Please, 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 please. So it's opening back up. Everything's still the same. I changed everything back the way it was. It's opening project, and there you go. Everything's still there. So that's just a basic introduction on file management. It gets a lot deeper when you deal with different file formats, different cameras. But the idea is to, when you create a project, make a folder structure first, then start your project. And then edit, save, and then back up. And when you back up, make sure everything stays the same. Alright, thanks for joining me on this file management for Adobe Premiere, any nonlinear editing software for real. My name is Imani Mulire, Media Production Specialist at the School of Communication at American University. See you next time.